something? Or we can still have one?
One full-time, one part-time.
Okay. We need about 2 more, don't we?
We're working on that. We don't know, we've got some other
When
options.
are those interviews?
Thursday, 1:30 and 3:30.
1:30?
3:30.
Right here? We're gonna get their resumes before then?
You have them. I emailed them out to you.
They mailed them?
I emailed them out.
Okay.
I emailed them out to everybody. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I hope, can y'all hear me okay? Okay. It's 6 o'clock and I'd like to call the meeting to order of this City of Coffee City City Council. If y'all will rise for the Pledge of the Allegiance, please. Don, would you do the honors?
Where's that flag at? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Riley, would you do Oprah?
Yeah. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for another beautiful day, Lord. We could use a little rain. Thank you for all you do for us, the blessings you give us. Be with us tonight. Help us conduct the business of this city in a manner that will be pleasing to you. All this I ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doug. Would you please do the roll call and announce a quorum, please?
Councilman Castleberry.
Here.
Councilman Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rutledge is absent. Mayor Wright.
Here.
Councilman Standifer.
Here.
Councilman McDaniel.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Doug. Well, it's nice to see everybody in our audience, even though it's mask wearing time. I appreciate you guys being here. Opening remarks, welcome to the City of Coffee City Council meeting. There's a few things that I want to say thank you. We're entering into our election season now. We do have some spots open on City Council as well as the mayor's position. So I encourage everyone who's interested in participating in the operations of the city to get engaged. The deadline for doing that is August the 17th at 5 p.m., Doug, is that right? 5 p.m. That's the last, that's when you have to have your paperwork in for a council position or the mayor's position. So with that said, thank you all for being here. Welcome to Coffee City City Council. Okay, our next item on the agenda is a consider and act upon consent items of 7, 8, 9, and 10, which is to approve the minutes of the City Council meeting on July 13th, 2020 as written, to approve the city financials for the month of July 2020, also to approve the EDC minutes for July 6, 2020, also to approve the EDC financials for the month of July. I will give you all a few minutes to review those. Do we still need a few minutes?
Everybody has had a chance to review it. I would like to make a motion to approve, consider action on items 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Mark? Aye. Okay, the motion has carried, so we have the approval of the consent items 7, 8, 9, and 10. Our next item on the agenda is really a great thing, and it's the swearing in of Reserve Police Officer Aaron Poole. So who will be doing this swearing in? Okay, Doug. We appreciate your family being here.
All right. Every officer of the city enters into these offices takes subscribes to the following oath of affirmation to be filed and kept in the office of the city secretary. Please repeat after me. I, Aaron Poole, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Reserve Police Officer for the city of Coffee City, state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and in this state and the charters and ordinances of this city. I furthermore solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered or promised to pay, contributed nor promised to contribute any money or valuable thing or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment. So help me God. All right.
Thank you. We turned it down, I guess. The other one's on. So, thank you, Mr. Poole.
Council, may I add, Mr. Poole comes from Houston. We met over a year ago. We talked a little bit. We never met each other in Houston, but through word of mouth, that's how he wanted to know me. And it was an interesting story because I asked him, how did we meet or how did we come across each other? And he said an officer from San Jacinto, whatever, told him about me. I said, okay, well, what did he say? Because I don't know if it's good or bad, right? You're coming all the way up here? Well, according to Mr. Poole and the other officers that I know and I've talked to, which made me feel good, I just figured I'd share it with y'all. He's new out of the academy, okay? And of course, limited experience getting it here, but he was told if you want to know more than just what policing is about, go start with Frank, which is in Coffee City. And that's how we got here, and I just wanted to say that. So I'm glad to have him aboard.
Yeah.
And he knows that carrying his badges comes a lot of responsibility, and he's willing to do everything he can for Coffee City.
Thank you. Thank you, and welcome. 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 Okay, the next item on the agenda is open forum. Do we have anybody on the open forum? Open forum is limited to items currently on the agenda. Speakers must sign in 10 minutes before beginning the meeting. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to speak. Do we have one? Okay. You can.
Thank y'all for allowing me to speak. This brings me back to old times.
Indeed.
I'm speaking really to item number 19 on the agenda tonight, and the EDC in particular. The Coffee City EDC has nothing on the city website, with the exception that Jim Beckerly is the president. There are no videos of any meetings, so the citizens have no way of knowing what is going on. A citizen does not know when the meetings are being held. A citizen does not know how many members are on the EDC board. A citizen does not know who the members are on the EDC board. And I believe the local government code says that if a city has a website, then such meetings are to be posted there. And so, moving on, I believe to be true, there was a position open on the board recently. And I believe to be true that 3 people applied for the position. And I believe the EDC met recently and nominated Michael Wolf as he was the only one of the applicants to show. I know as a fact, one of those applicants was told all they needed to do was turn their name in and the EDC would consider it and vote on it. Never that they had to attend the meeting. And I know as a fact, one of the applicants was never contacted by any member of the EDC to ask him questions or vet him in any way. And because of that, misinformation being handed out, and that the EDC did not do their due diligence on vetting a new board member, I'm asking the council to table this item until the EDC can do its due diligence by vetting all 3 applicants to find the best one. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you. Your comments have been heard, and some of them have been addressed, and we will take that up when we come to your agenda item, or the agenda item. Okay, thank you. Okay, now for the mayor's report. I have a couple of things to say. First off, we've had this pandemic that has really rocked not only our city, our county, our county, and also our state and our national government. We also filed the paperwork in relation to the pandemic for any funds under the CARE Act, for any relief funds under the CARE Act through the Texas Department of Emergency Management. We did make that application, and we are pending money. There are some funds out there that Coffee City could obtain to offset any additional expenses that the city has incurred that resulted as a result of the pandemic. So the city itself is tracking all related COVID expenses at this time, and we are pending further information from the Texas Department of Emergency Management. The second thing on the mayor's report is, as I pretty much think that annual reviews of policies, ordinances, procedures, etc., really should be done on an annual basis. And as the review of the city ordinances continue, I am going to request, and I have information that I will give out to the councilman, for a modification of the property abatement ordinance number 20170911 on page 3. And that is for a reduction. Currently, the ordinance reads, and we will place this as a consider an act for September, but I just want the council to be able to have time to consider that. Right now, that states that allowing weeds to grow prohibited that states if weeds are higher than 3 feet. 3 feet's pretty tall. And I would like the council to consider revising that and lowering that to about 18 inches. I think that would help a lot in the improvement of our properties, in the look of our properties. So I will pass those out if you will give me an opportunity. Is that okay? To the council. Edward, you're welcome, Edward. Okay, the next item, I can get back over, trying to not break y'all up too much. In reference to the council's oversight of the Coffee City Economic Development Corporation, I know, because I have attended the meetings, I know that there have been revisions made to the EDC bylaws that have not been presented to the council for approval. I recommend that the EDC complete any remaining revisions. I understand that there are some, and to prepare the final document for the approval of City Council by the September 14th meeting. Okay. Another item I would like to address is our interim police chief, Frank Serrato. He's been with Coffee City now for some time. He's done an excellent job as interim chief. We had a time limit that we were looking at for the council to make a decision on whether or not they would entertain other candidates, or not that they would entertain, but they would select another candidate or have Frank remain in the position. Due to scheduling delays, we were unable to complete that by this meeting. So we do have the two. It was requested that we do look at some other candidates. So we do have two that will be having a formal interview with the council, whoever wants to participate, on Thursday. One is scheduled at 1:30. The other one is scheduled at 3:30. As soon as that is concluded, I will be asking the council for a decision we'll have a special called meeting in order to make a decision on whether or not, which direction the council will be going on that. So Frank, I appreciate all that you've done. You have really been an asset to the city, and I appreciate your hard work. And that's the mayor's report. At this time, the city secretary's report is on the table. And Doug, we are presenting final expenditures for last year, right? Or the final numbers. And I've got some numbers to hand out to them, okay, to the council. Okay, Doug, you have the floor.
When we start next week, adding the stuff that's still due out.
These are final numbers according to it's our final numbers, but adjustments can be made per the accounting, our auditor, okay, And they do give us a little leeway for that. So we will, anytime that you have anything that needs to be updated on that, please get with us and let us know. Okay, thank you. Okay, Doug.
Mayor, council, overall, as far as expenditures, we were under budget as far as what our expenses were. Unfortunately, due to several different things, including COVID, we did not recognize our income as we thought we would in the last quarter of this year, or last year, sorry. So, although we recognized that we actually had a positive as far as sales tax income, the revenue from the court was not as large due to constraints by the state, by the governor, and by the OCA. The other thing was there was an in-house warrant collection that was set up last year for $38,000. That was not the program wasn't fully implemented at the time, and it has been as of now. So we will be tracking that. Unfortunately, it wasn't tracked. Any questions on what you got there?
You will see some revisions as we work with the auditor for last year and this year, 2019, 2020, that we are trying to align our categories, and he's given us some great direction. We have tried to do that, and you see that represented in the budget's preparation that you were given in July and also now. So we're tracking, we're really trying to meet the goals that the auditor has kind of given us a high-level view of that. So we are meeting those goals. Thank you, Doug. I see you have something else on there that probably I already spoke to.
Yeah, last day to file for anybody that's interested in filing is the 17th of August at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So we currently have 3 council seats, as you stated, and 1 mayor seat available.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. The EDC report, Ray, will you be given that?
Yes, so this is my name here. I don't care if somebody can or I can.
Okay. We just need an update on any new business.
Just the EDC met last week. We had a regular meeting. We talked about the vacancies and the possibilities of some people maybe on the property that they own up there in 155, the business center. No real aspects or prospects at the moment for anything on that. Basically, then we discussed the new candidates, and we had 3 people that came the month before and wanted to all be considered for a position there. Jim was not there the month before, so when this was brought up, he basically brought up one of them that was present. They all voted on that one, decided to go ahead and put them as one of the seats. Nothing was said about the other 2 since neither one was present, so we really know where they stood on anything. We basically talked about still the possibility of the property that the EDC owns, Family Dollar, and the property up here on the corner, and the possibility of trying to work something with an attorney to look into changing up, trying to address something with an attorney for Family Dollar, getting some access to that again. So we are looking into hiring an attorney to look into that details more, because we think we might have some push to pull the decisions to try to get them to do something on right. So that was it.
Thank you, Ray. Next item on the agenda is the municipal court report. Shalina, you can address anything in the final numbers that you want to at this time.
That pretty much covered the main numbers where we were under budget, in-house warrant collection. We just didn't have a fully implemented program at the time. The former police chief was working towards that program, and Serato, when he came on board, he and Alicia Centron, they really hunkered down and implemented the program. We've added a new officer. Frank may want to talk about that, but we did add a new warrant officer just a few weeks ago, right? About a few weeks ago. The shortfall, like Doug said, was COVID related. Obviously, there was less traffic on the road. The court gave lengthy extensions, 3 to 4 weeks, more than what we normally give. And that was based off of Governor Abbott's emergency declaration, and also the recommendations from the Office of Court Administration. Those are ongoing. Everything's still fluid. We still remain closed to walk-in traffic at this time due to the county's numbers continuing to rise. We're still there to do business over the phone, Dropbox, email. It's business as usual for us in the office. I didn't see any other numbers that were really too bad off, but if any of you have any questions, I can answer them for you now. If you have any questions.
Does the council have any questions for the judge? Okay. All right.
Okay. So for the month of July, we had 233 new cases. We had 22 that were dismissed after completion of the driver safety course, 8 after deferred disposition, 5 after proof of insurance. We had 12 show cause hearings held in the month of July. We had 4 cases that were satisfied by completion of community service. We collected, fines collected for the month was $25,831. GHS collected $9,137, and in-house warrant collections was $1,586. Centron cleared 3 warrants for the month of July. He normally clears 7 to 10. He was out with some surgery. We kept him from doing more, but as I said, Officer Marks is on board now and he's assisting with the warrants. So we had a total transfer from the municipal court to the general fund of $3,616. Any questions?
Any questions from the council? Okay. All right. Thank you, Judge. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the police report. Frank, would you be so kind?
Council, normally I start by reporting what we've done, but today I'd like to start by saying a few things. It weighs heavy on my mind and my heart to stand here today knowing that it could be the last. Okay. I'm not okay with everything that I've done here. I've done above and beyond because that's what I choose. I don't need to be recognized by none of y'all, this man, citizens. I want to be recognized knowing that I do a good job every day because that's what I chose to do. And again, to wear this badge is an honor, It's ultimate respect. It's the closest thing I used to call it to God. Okay? I am not God, but I'm going to hold myself upright and do the job right. Okay? Yes, my personal life tells sometimes, but it doesn't affect my job. Two, I've been here, other people have quit, the chosen people have quit, and I'm still here because I'm going to office city regardless of who's running it. I'm having trouble even breathing, just trying to talk and explain myself right now because I feel that I'm not being treated fairly today. Better yet, fairly before, but I'm going to focus on today. I look at the meetings, and it was said that 90 days, and in 90 days, if I didn't make the cut, then y'all would start looking and posting. But I found out that it had been posted prior to 90 days. So I'm not getting a fair shake on that. If I'm not wanted here, I need to know so that I can leave and have somebody else say this is going because I think I've done enough to earn my right to be. And for somebody to come in here and interview on Thursday and then tell me, now I gotta wait another, today's 91 days. I have to wait another few more days of, this is my life. This is what I choose to do. And I have to wait for what reason? I'm held to a higher standard. I know I am. And if I fail, I'll answer to it. I'll answer to God and I'll answer to it civilly and to the courts. In 20 years, come November, I have not one formal complaint. I have good officers that come and work for me. Officers like Mr. Poole that want to start with me so they can know about policing other than just policing itself. They want to know about how to get by, the thinking, the breathing, the understanding, sleep, other things that people don't take into consideration that we need to do. I get a call, I go out, I'm up 5 hours at night thinking, man, I'm lucky. Thank God I made it home. Because I went out to that call half asleep to go take care of what I need to take care of. Again, if I'm held to a higher standard, I will answer to it. Like I have to answer to y'all. If I have to answer to y'all, who's the higher standard above me? That would be y'all, at least in my, that's how I see it. So if I was told in 90 days, I feel like I got lied. I feel that I wasn't told the truth. I feel that my days have been numbered since, I'm going to assume maybe a month ago whenever the interview started. So with all due respect, before I have a heart attack here, I'm going to ask Officer Saxon Toby to announce this month's agenda. Again, I can handle any bad guy out there all day long. I have no problem. This is what's killing me right here. Knowing that I can't come to work, knowing that today's going to be my last day because of what? What have I done? What have I done to say that 90 days, Frank, you were lied to? What have I done? If y'all don't want me, let me know because I can't handle sitting here for another 4 days or, I'm sorry, whenever the meeting is on 1:30 and 3:30, whatever day that is. I can't sit here and wait. If y'all don't want me, just let me know.
Okay, Frank, I need to inject.
Yeah?
Okay, I need to inject. Okay? At the time, you were put in as interim
Yes, ma'am.
for a period of 90 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. It is typical that any time there is an opening, it needs to be published. I don't know what's been done in the past. I don't know how it's been handled in the past. But I know for my own ethical standards and my own integrity, the position needs to be published. It needed to have the applicants. I was asked if we were going to be interviewing applicants. And at that point in time, at every encounter, I engaged you to make sure that you were okay with the steps that were being taken. In your words to me, initially you were not. But after we talked on the second time, that you were fine. So it offends me that you stand here and say that you feel like you were lied to. I have been upfront, transparent with you. It is up to the council to decide. The fact that we are moving forward with interviews has no bearing on the council's decision who will resume or remain in the spot. So I hope you take that in consideration and we can move forward with your report.
Yes, I can report this one final thing to what you said. Your words were, yes, we talked about it. You said, I would like budget, economic, so forth, after the 90 days, so the council can make a determination after 90 days, and then after 90 days, the quote goes on. I can't remember what you said, after 90 days, you would interview, you would bring people in. That's not 90 days, today's 91 days, unless you did it yesterday.
In order to meet the 90 days and try to have a decision for you, and like I said earlier, for the scheduling conflicts that we had, this was the very best that we could do.
Yes, after 90 days.
Yeah. Well, we had to make a decision, Frank, in 90 days of who is going to be in that slot. So we can continue this conversation at some other time.
Ma'am, at this point, we've talked alone and haven't gone anywhere. With all due respect, I like to have witnesses in because I'm tired of being this. Because yes, we've talked about stuff, but again, we talked in public 90 days. 90 days. In 90 days, I'm supposed to know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Mayor, Council, with all due respect again, I love my job. I'm never going to.
Can we have your report, please?
As I said, I love my job, I'm not going to take that away. On July 20th, we had 100 calls for service. 3 of them were accidents, 1 alarm, 1 animal call, 1 trespass, 1 code enforcement, 1 code enforcement in progress, which is the trailer supposed to be picked up tomorrow, the one at Vine Street. 4 disturbances, 1 suicide call, 8 reports, 2 arrests, 2 misdemeanor arrests, 2 felony arrests, 4 jumping off bridge, 34 information calls, 1 loose livestock, 5 motor assist, 2 reckless drivers, 2 supplement reports, 1 with a person with a gun, 1 home check. For those who don't know, home check is when someone goes on vacation, we ask them to fill out a home check. Whatever's there should be there. If there's anything extra, we call the homeowner and we let them know, hey, don't go to your house. We only have 1 physical abuse call, 4 road hazards, 1 suspicious activity, 4 suspicious persons, 8 suspicious vehicles, 2 thefts, 4 vehicle impounds, 1 warrant served here in town. And it was in the evening, so we couldn't get through for half the hour. But 1 harassment, 1 transmote. Assist other agencies, 1 in mental call, 1 in medical, 2 forensic interviews, 1 on agency, and 1 physical sexual assault. This next one here was a typo. Wishful thinking about the part-time officers. I put it in there, but for the month of July, we only have 1 full-time, 1 part-time, and 17 reserves. Also, the department had a sum total of 299 traffic stops. 188 citations were issued, totaling 228 violations with 43 warnings. And we had another 111 traffic stops totaling 118 warnings. Just want to clarify a little bit on that. 299 is a total of 188 stops. They got citations and warnings, and the other 111 stops were all warnings, that total up to 118 warnings. And for the judge, when she was talking about Syntron had eye surgery on both eyes, which unfortunately couldn't be both at the same time. They did one, and then so that delayed him from doing the warrants. So he had surgery on the other eye. That one was successful. The second eye, I think it was the right eye, either or. He had complications. We had to go back and did some more work on him. So he didn't get much done this last month. But again, he's very productive at what he does, and he's always keeping us informed of what he does. We've also added William Marks, also known as Billy, we call Billy, or Bill. Bill was added. Bill has, I think, 14 or 15 years experience, and half of that was warrant service. So we figured he would be a great addition to Coffee City, also the assistant to Syntron. and for the Jackson Trail along with Lawrence. Any other questions?
Any questions from the council? Okay, thank you, Frank. Fire chief?
Real briefly, I'll give you the Evelyn Woods version. On the TDM grant,
Yes.
I still have about $6,000 out. I know our cutoff was December 31st. But, we still got 1,020 respirators, 4,000 in the Reverend 95, and probably 1,000 in shields and cleaners and miscellaneous stuff.
And that includes the supplies that the city,
That's above what I've already turned in, which is what, 4,000, 5,000, but we bought suits, masks, cleaners, gloves, whatever. But
okay,
we tried really hard to take care of everybody, but, still don't work sometimes. 28 calls, 18 of them were medical, y'all can tell they're still way up. And this is just, report. I told y'all, let me back up a little bit. We moved to a new system, which y'all get the report on the back here. Some of those reports were not in there. About 5 medicals are not in there. But I'm waiting on information. You can't close that new system out. And the lady who has to finish that is in Pennsylvania. It should be in 2 weeks, and I'll submit a corrected version to my report next month also.
okay,
I mean, they're in the system, they know we did it, it just hasn't been signed off. 18 medicals, 2 lip assists, 1 assist disabled, 2 grass fires, 1 cancel and route, 2 MVAs, 1 false alarm, and 1 watercraft rescue. We've already done 2 or 3 of those this morning. So, I want to add that we're going to be doing a critical incident debriefing next Tuesday. We've had about 3 bad fatalities. 2 of them are separate reactions. What would y'all call it? There's fire practice. We bring some people in that have had some form of education just to let you talk. Most times it just helps just talk to somebody about it, and then you go on instead of keeping it all built inside.
it's true.
The reason I had that for upcoming events, Square Fair's been postponed indefinitely. I was told it was going to be postponed. Now they're talking about not having it. We're still doing Meals on Wheels, and that's really about it.
Okay, does any member of the council have any questions for Chris? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your hard work. Item number 19 is a consider and act upon the EDC appointment of Micah Wolf as a new member of the EDC board. I want to preface this taking into consideration the comments that were made in open forum. The council can consider whether or not to table this action, but in regarding these appointments, I was extraneously involved in that. I am aware that we had 3 people solicit the EDC board. It was my request that they fill that 7th position, as well as, because that's what their bylaws say, as well as filling the other vacant spot. When Larry Paxton left, Ray Verhey took his spot. So technically, whether you want to consider it Larry's position or Ray's position, one and the same to me. I had hoped and I had prepared or helped the secretary prepare ballots for a vote to be taken for all 3 persons that had expressed interest And that did not happen as I would have hoped it would. So I certainly have some considerations as well regarding that, and have some issues regarding that as well. So at this time, the motion is before the council to consider and act upon the EDC appointment of Micah Wolf. Now, does the council wish to table this and take into consideration the comments that were made by our citizen Pam Drost? Any comments?
Well, since it always seems to be a pot that's being stirred, and it's been stirred for a long time. You didn't hear me? A long time. Maybe it'll make them happy? Let's table it. I make a motion that we table it for the next meeting.
The next EDC meeting?
Whichever, because it's gonna, because the next EDC meeting, and then the next city council meeting.
Who seconded? Edward, we have a motion by Don Weaver. We have a second by Edward. All in favor? Aye. Okay, this motion this consider an act has been tabled, and it will go back to the EDC for consideration of all the candidates, and will be voted on and then brought forward to the council for approval. And that should be in September's meeting. Okay, the next item on the agenda, I gave the council some ordinances that the fire chief had worked on in conjunction with myself. I don't do ordinances, he does the ordinances, but we have had lengthy discussions about it. So item number 20 is to consider and act upon an ordinance for reduced speed limits. Now, the reason, I have a personal reason for suggesting that, and it is mainly for the residential areas. I know from my subdivision, going up Highsall Trail, it's a straight shot out to Highway 155. And I know that I can hit excess of 35 miles an hour coming out of that subdivision. And I know myself, prima facie speed is 30 miles an hour, but 25 miles an hour is what I would consider sufficient for within subdivisions. And I know on Coffee Landing Road, there is a sign on Coffee Landing Road that is in bad need of replacement, and maybe a few more signs. And we are discussing that in this. So it's of interest to me for the council to really consider this action. I'd like to ask Chris at this time if the council has any questions. Chris, and you have any things that you would like to state regarding this ordinance for reduced speed limit?
I mean, I think it's all pretty much, basically what it does is it makes the speed limit on every street in the Coffee City 25 miles an hour, with the exception of 4232, which is an unimproved, basically called a gravel road, it's a wrap road. They don't need to be flying down through there. 4219 is basically a wrap road, and there's a lot of kids down there. Now, and 4223 is basically a wrap road. Now, those are part of the street upgrade program. Now, when they blacktop them, it might be, we'll come back and raise it to 25. But keeping them at 15 will also help keep that wrap stay there instead of them, flying. Plus, miles an hour. Most people don't know what a horseshoe is, it's an high saw. You shouldn't be able to get above 5 miles an hour if you gas it. But it's a circle. You know, you might have a kid or somebody or just from a fire chief doing donuts down there or something, and they need to ride the ticket. The other road that we made was in the laws and everything shows that you can reduce for like school zones or high traffic areas or libraries. So basically, from this stop sign to the church, instead of having two separate reduced speed zones, just make it one zone, 15 miles an hour, which is past City Hall. We have multiple wrecks out here, so City Hall, you want him to put them multiple ways. I think most people will tell you, I know firemen will judge you come out on the top side of that parking lot over there, they're flying over the top of that hill, you can't see. They can't see you. So it's 15, and then when it gets past the church down there, it will resume back to 25. And like the mayor said, that is about 5 miles an hour under normal. But some of these roads, I think we've all traveled, 30 to 35, too much. Some of them, somebody's got to pull over when you meet them on time. So we've been, but that's the main reason on the road. I would hope that once we pave those route roads, we can upgrade their speed.
If there were no signs on any of these roads at all, what would the state mandate the speed limit be?
30 mile an hour.
Some of them would be 30, and a couple of them would probably be just as soon as 35.
Mhm.
Now, that's the problem is when you get into misconstrued.
So the police right now, if there's no sign at all, the police have the authority to ticket somebody for going anything over 30 miles an hour.
35.
35?
Okay.
And it's a hard deal, but we've discussed it, a couple of years. We just discussed just doing a high call, for example. You might as well, and the problem we have when Chief Kirkland was here is they were having problems because things weren't properly marked.
Mhm.
Even, you know what I'm saying? That's what he's saying. They weren't properly marked. With them being properly marked, that would give them better tools in enforcing the law. I mean, you don't have a sign, they're gonna say, well, I thought that was an alley, or I thought that was an improved road.
If they got a Texas driver's license, they know, they swore that they knew. You can't have a Texas driver's license without knowing.
Yeah, but we have people that come up and
Yeah.
say that your sign was 2 inches too low. And therefore, it was not proper height.
Branson had that problem.
Yeah.
The thing is, everything on all of these pages centers around one thing. That's enforcement.
Yeah, enforcement.
Enforcement and public
And
safety.
also, it covers parking. We've had parking problems in the past, and those things will, they tell us where you can park, where you can't park, yada, yada. Also talks about disability. We've only had a couple of problems with disability at the grocery store, but none here that I know of, and I don't know anybody else that has a church man.
If every sign on here is put up on all those streets, I don't think there's going to be enforcement, because I was looking at, I'll use Branson as an example. There's 20 miles an hour in there. I go to Branson almost every day. That's not happening. If the people go, and the same thing on my road, 25, well, I'd be just thrilled if they went 25, but if you tank the septic truck, if you tank the school bus, if you tank the UPS driver, if you tank the postal worker driver, if you drive, all the service people there, and the construction people are the worst. Well, how many of those people is going 25 miles an hour? Well, how many people were going 30? Boy, that would be a miracle.
Okay.
Laws on top of laws, all of this is based on enforcement. And since we're having problems with the rotation of our officers and so forth here, I'm not voting for any of this stuff there. If we can't enforce it, And Phil's not here to defend himself there, but I think what he said is, and it was right, and I think the mayor of Berryville also said this, is I'm not gonna pass anything we can enforce. And if we can't enforce any of this stuff, and with our ongoing thing with the police chief, I ain't voting for none of this.
I understand, Councilman, but it also covers uninsured vehicles.
We don't have state laws for that?
Yes, but you also gotta have local laws, and what these are doing is cutting out the loopholes. And then I think you may get your enforcement with proper signage. I don't think we can, you can't ride a horse into breaking. Just say if the horse is running free, well, you never tried to break it, you never tried to do it. Now, my thinking is, and everybody knows my love law, we fight all the time and we help each other all the time. If you give them the tools and the people are telling them, hey, and they don't use those tools, that doesn't always talk to them.
We have a population of 300 people. We have a population.
Yeah, but it's not 300 people. You have 300
Yes.
people here, and you have people traveling, transit, coming through, cutting through.
These are mostly substation roads, and everything
Yes.
live here, 75. These are people, these are either the citizens who live on this road, or they were people who visit the
But
citizens
just like
on
you
this
said,
road, or they're people providing services to these people on this road.
Like you said, you got Tug, you got Mail, you got Honey Dippers, you got
Like that propane tank guy, yeah.
real estate agents. And I think it should be done, because there's a lot of kids out there on these streets.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Well, I'm in, personally as mayor and as a resident of Coffee City, I would like to see the council seriously consider it because it is public safety. It doesn't matter really if there is a sign up and somebody sees a sign and they recognize, oh, I am going too fast. That alone can stop some people from speeding down our streets that are residential. So I don't understand the level of enforcement. It gives the officers tools when they are in these areas to be able to, I've even called Coffee City Police when go-karts are racing up and down my street, and it needs to be addressed. So I would like for the council, we need a motion on the table to consider this ordinance for reduced speeds. Yes, Frank?
I'm sorry, it was 30 miles per hour.
30. I thought it was 30.
That's correct. But we just had our budget thing where we're really struggling on our budget. Laws on top of laws are not going to accomplish anything. They're not going to be improving the lives of the Coffee City citizens with this there. We have our motto in this county is overpromise and underdeliver. We have been consistent with that motto forever. And this is a classic case of, we're going to do all of this. No, you're not.
I have a question.
Yes.
How many signs are you talking about, and what is the cost? Hundreds?
No, it won't be hundreds. Of course, high salt would be the easiest, believe it or not, because, we'll hit them coming in, and we'll sparse a couple of them out. And I think we were looking around 160 signs, I think it was. 60 signs, and it costs, and that would be, if this is approved, then, we can do a cheap, $40 version, and we can do an expensive $100 version. I don't think we need the expensive $100. The county uses the cheap $40, which is actually a little less. They just keep posting and put them in. When I talked to at that time, Chief Kirkland was the mayor, and I forget who else was there. They make the breakaway. If you want to see an example of a breakaway, this stop sign here is a breakaway. You cement a triangle on the bottom, and then you bolt another triangle on top of that post, and it's the T. If you walk out there and somebody fat like me and leans against it, it'll break the shear off.
We have the ability already. It's not like, oh, if we don't have this. We already have it. And we've had it forever as far as enforcing and protecting our citizens. And right here, I'll hold in my hand, this is section 12.02.005. And it says whenever a section does not state that signs are required, such sections shall be effective even though no signs are erected in place. In other words, if there's no sign, our police officer can do his job. he has the ability to do his job this very second for the past 8 years and for infinity into a thing without spending a nickel. He can take care of and protect our citizens. This is not going to do anything except needle our individual citizens. And since we're basically comprised of a retiree and elderly, and you can pick any numbers you want is, well, who's this going to apply to? Well, we're not going to go with the retired and elderly. We're going to get those people who are providing those services.
Frank, what do you think?
There's a tax.
What does Frank
Sales
think?
tax that we pay for.
Yeah.
It doesn't come out of the city treasury.
Frank, do we need that? Do we need the signs?
Yes and no.
That's a good answer.
How about that?
No, because, again, we can enforce the width without the sign, even if they know or don't know it, who's grabbing it. Two, that was, well, one, it is, and all I know is on the no, well, yes, it's because the citizens want to see it. I've had numerous complaints, and I don't know how many license plates that get next to me, hey, this car, this color, driving fast. But again, if I see a car going 30 miles per hour and I don't have my radar, I really don't know if it's going 30 miles per hour. So my fast and the citizens' fast might be different, but again, I'm for it. And then again, you know, if you don't have the money, I'm going to say we can still enforce it.
Is that not something that's out of the roads account too?
Roads and right of ways.
Roads and right-of-ways, and there is money in that roads account to take care of what we want to take care of.
Mayor, has the city council considered speed bumps?
I know that,
Basically, it basically takes care of when he's not there and the police officer can't be there.
I know that we have,
That's a great idea though, to take care of those areas.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them, but
I know
it makes
that-
your speed limit slower.
I know that we have had that request actually, and Chris, would you like to speak to the request that came to you?
The law for speed bumps on roads, and there've been some places, like over by Sunrise Stores, they put them in an angle, call them water diverters, but they've lost their cases and they've had to pull them out.
Yeah.
So, you know, you do take a car that's new, there's no sign warning them, you have to put a sign up telling them there's a speed bump there.
Sure.
But they don't, and it's a Corvette, and in high centers and carries the clutch off underneath it. Now, instead of riding a speed ticket, you don't have to have a problem with that. I mean,
I know there's a set size dimension for all speed limits to go in. In Corpus Christi, where I live, when they had this type of situation, people could request by writing and put in for city ordinance for their neighborhood to have speed bumps put in. And the neighborhoods that want it, they could get speed limits.
yes, sir.
And it helps take care of that whole problem right there, because the police can't be everywhere. You don't need the speed limit sign, you're gonna have a sign for speed bump. People are gonna slow down, it's gonna take care of that problem, and you don't have to have them throughout the whole place, mostly coming in and out. But
We have a list. of
what's your
roads
cost compared to putting up, 60 signs with the posts, the concrete, the labor, the sign, everything to do it all?
I don't think it's necessarily, it's just me, and of course, I'll shut up every time I'll tell them to, is that it's for the public safety. It's not just for traffic tickets, it's telling people to slow down. I'm driving on the country road, and I'm doing 35, 40 miles an hour. I see a sign that says 25, I slow myself down. I saw,
Yeah.
they didn't know what the stop sign was, so we put in 8 of them.
Yeah.
They were flying around in corners. We put the stop signs in when we did the street deal, and all of a sudden everybody stopped at the stop sign. And I don't know.
Okay.
I've seen on our highways, and I've seen it in the local towns. You have all these roads here. All we have to do is have one of our fine officers who's posted at that particular road. All he has to do is flash his lights when he sees somebody going faster. It's incredibly effective. I don't know if any of you have seen this particular activity, but they flash the lights and they slow them down. That way, he does it quickly. He doesn't have to have interference, and he doesn't have to rein in our particular citizens on this thing. And he's allowing it. If they want to discuss it, he can tell them, well, you're lucky. You were only going 40 miles an hour. We're going to slam it down to 25.
Okay.
I argued that same thing in Galveston in the Total Quality Leadership Management course, and the Corpus Christi police chief was there, and and they asked me let's ask everybody what good things you do, you know, for management. He says, well, every morning I send police cars down to the school zone and we write tickets. And we slow people down. I said, you still write tickets every day? He goes, yeah. I said, are they out there? He says, yeah, they sit on the side and they write tickets. So that program doesn't work. I said, well, have you ever thought about just having a police officer sit out in the middle with his lights on? And he goes, well, that doesn't write tickets. And I'm like, we're not here to write tickets.
Right,
We're
right.
here for
Public
This
safety.
is Coffee City residents we're talking about
We
here.
got 29
This is not the highway. This is Coffee City residents, and I think they would be welcome to be informed with a flash of the light. And you have maybe 12 on this list, one day here, one day there, one day here, because I remember at this particular meeting, and it was our interim mayor that told us this, he goes, Frank, he goes, I appreciate the way you're doing things. You did that with the heart of a public servant. Did I quote you correctly?
Mhm.
And I think they're about 50%. I heard right. I think they wrote about 188 citations. And those are probably people that either had, I don't know, I wasn't there, an attitude or a problem with the stop, and they wrote like 118 more. So, I mean, they're not just writing
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah.
It's not nothing about that. It's about putting a visual sign up there that says, slow down.
Okay. I think we've belabored this point enough. Okay, so we still have an item, number 20, consider and act upon an ordinance to reduce the speed limits. I would like a motion on the floor. Do we have anybody to make a motion?
Mayor, would that motion be to consider or to act upon?
To act upon implementing the ordinance. It would still have to be published, etc.
Mayor, I make a motion that we act upon putting up signs to regulate speed limits in the city of Crawford.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, motion dies. Okay, next item on the agenda is to consider and act upon an ordinance for weight limits and permits on roads. Again, this is an effort to protect our roads, to maintain them or to help maintain them. That's one of the biggest expenses, I think, that Coffee City should incur is maintenance of the roads, etc. I know that several roads, there is a road plan that has been in existence for what now, 2 years? 2-3 years. And very little of that has been actually completed, for which I fight every day, okay, to get some kind of information on updated costs, scheduling, when is it going to be scheduled, when can we look for the roads to be repaired or overlaid or whatever the case may be. The ordinance for weight limits and permits would give the city an opportunity to know, and of course, the information or something was stated about the garbage trucks, but they are already in a franchise agreement with the city, and they already do their part for the roads, contributing to our road maintenance. So it would exclude them, but it would allow the city, we could implement that very easily, to have them permitted, to write permits for them. It gives us an opportunity to know where they were going, the possibility of road damage. I saw one big utility construction piece of equipment that if we're not careful, if they don't come off the road, then they could chew up the asphalt on the road. They can damage it with those, what do you call those? The trackhoes. So we're looking at an effort to try to protect our roads. So with that said, we have a consider and act upon an ordinance for weight limits and permits on the road. Is there any discussion? Okay. Yes.
We've already been through this before. I know that some of this in the audience, you've been there in the past, but back when Ken Giesman was alive, we inspected the roads. We asked for advice. I was honored to be on the road committee on the roads that we repaved some in Highsaw. We repaved on Royal Forest, if that's the correct thing. And we had an engineer come discuss the roads with us. And it was really interesting. He said, well, the problem with the roads is, he goes, there's two major things. Those major things is that somebody runs off the edge of the road, they crumble the edge of the road, and it causes deterioration. And he said the second thing is, he goes, water flow. It goes, if you get water flowing underneath it, it causes the pavement to crack and fall apart. So, as the city council, and this is all past history, but that's what I'm talking about, nobody seems to know. We said, well, we want to do something about it. So Ken basically said, this isn't going to do anything. Those signs are not going to help your road. So what we did as a city council is we started collecting money for road repair. And if you look, it's on here right now. We're collecting money from the garbage truck man because he has to go off the edge of the road to collect the garbage. And so every fine citizen of Coffee City pays $1 on every bill to help with the road fund. And then we had a sales tax added on the on everything. Every bottle of liquor, there's money that goes to our roads. Reason being is, and so that way we have funds to repair the roads. And then it goes to the roads themselves. Well, we have several defunct HOAs here that are now part of Coffee City, and the roads were built to no kind of standard at all. And then if you look at the ones out in the country, they don't really have any kind of shoulder at all. They're really high and scary. I think we had a police car flip and roll because of that thing. Because the asphalt is this high, you have maybe an 18-inch drop off, and if you drop that wheel off, you into that pavement, it's hurt. Back to the purpose of this is, none of this is going to fix our roads in Coffee City. These signs, these weight limits and restrictions, none of this is going to help our particular problem. We're collecting funds, we're applying the funds, and I think we've done an admirable job of keeping the roads up and patching the roads as it goes. Because that's the way it's going to happen. Because we all drive all day long. If you look at Highway 155, oh, look, they're repairing that. And that is a major textile highway, and they're fixing it. And then if you go to, I can list every town around here. And, oh, real rich subdivisions, their roads are turned to dirt. So this is not going to fix our roads. What's going to fix our road is having funds available to fix the road, and we're already taking action to do that. And I think it's a great thing that we've done. And back up to the original thing is, this is already, this exact same thing is coming before the council, and we killed it because this ain't going to do nothing.
Okay, Chris, you're recognized.
As Mr. Winters has stated, Alderman Winters stated, we've worked on this for multiple organizations. We worked with Mayor Pam, and you inherited it, and we've done some preliminary work with Mayor Ray, Wakeman. This is not to fix our road. This is just like the speed limit. This is a preventative measure. And the more times these people are coming in here and working, the more houses they're building, and the more stuff they're doing down the road, construction, they're tearing the roads up.
And we're back to the police. It's enforcement.
Well, I don't know. So are you mad at the ordinance or the police? I mean,
I'm not mad at the police. As a matter of fact, I'm supporting the police there. Because the police, if you look at this report, what a fine job that they've done is, we're going to add this to their particular list. Is they don't have any way to certify all of this. And so we're adding something to them that they can't really do. And so here, and the thing is how hard can we crack the whip on the police? We'll keep cracking it till they can't do it at all.
Y'all, but if you don't do preventative stuff, this ain't no different than your heart. If you don't take your vitamins, do your workout, do your medicine, you say, oh, well, we're just putting too much on the doctors to go see them every day.
What road do you think, if we put these signs up and we did, what road do you think is going to be fixed in Coffee City?
Well, there's a list of them in there, and the next roads are going to be finished street Kent, on 17, then to finish the T and the gutter at 19, and then to finish, there's about 6 or 7 roads in there. The plan, we've already done the wrap. We're gonna do from 40 to 20, all the way to the end to, matter of fact, just past McDaniel's house, Alderman McDaniel's house, because we did rest the pre-work from there down. We got our pre-work done before the storms and rain and all that stuff.
That's what I was doing, I was bragging on you.
But and I don't mean to sound rude, but we don't do preventative maintenance. We're only like they go hard. And they don't care how big and how deep your funds are. It's just plain simple.
Lakeway Harbor is still an official HOA, they have not been
Yeah,
changed.
we're not a HOA, we're a city, and we have the opportunity to take preventive measures, right, on speed limits and what. And all it is the main ones that are gonna get caught are gonna be your cement trucks. And they come in there and they're turning hard, and they're tearing up them roads. We did a great thing with a franchise with the trash service, because we took about 15 trash companies off the road twice a week, and now we have one twice a week.
And we're
That was a
collecting money.
preventative measurement. So why did we do that?
That's right, we did some great success.
You know, I mean, I think they're just preventative measurements, and I just try to sell that part. It don't hurt me either way, except I'm kind of like the chief. I love the city, and we don't take any preventative measures. Then, I mean, what are we here for?
Yeah, amen. Okay, Frank, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Is that Wayne Fraser?
Yes, sir.
Does he still have his weights here?
Well, I don't know, but I know that he's very limited because of things going on in his life, and,
How's he help?
well, he's very limited now. I wanted to, we do have somebody, but again, he's reserved.
We went through this last time, exactly the same thing. It was Wayne Fraser, and Wayne Fraser did have a set of weights. And then the big discussion is where we're gonna perform this function of policing this with these weights and doing things. And it came to the conclusion, well, we don't have any place like that.
I didn't know
Okay.
maybe we had something like that.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Chris, would you like to respond?
We do have, like, we're not doing it on 35 or 6. We're not doing it on 155. We're doing it on our road. And it's real simple. It's that way. How you gonna put some over speed ticket on the road?
That's a good point.
Okay? So what you have to do is when they come in and they'll see the city secretary, and she'll enter him he'll enter her a permit that they'll put on their window. So when the truck comes by that's over 36,000 pounds, which is what a cement truck weighs already before he's seen it, and he makes that corner and Frank's out there smoking a cigarette with us, and there's no permit in the window, boom. The gross vehicle weight of the vehicle itself before you put anything on it already exceeds the road.
And Frank may not
It's
be
gonna
here
require
that
like
bad thing.
it's all gonna require like 6 signs. We have to put one entrance of the city and everybody, that it's a weight zone.
Okay, has everybody had their discussion? Okay, we have on the agenda, item 21, consider and act upon an ordinance for weight limits / permits on the roads. Do I have a motion? Okay, Edward has made a motion to act upon the ordinance for weight limits and permits on the road. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I'll be the lone dissension, thank you.
Okay, so we have 1 nay, and Mark, was that a yes for you? Yes, okay, Riley and Edward, thank you guys. Okay, next item on the agenda. In your last month's packet, I gave out also some proposed personnel policy changes. Again, this is a review act. Those policies and procedures should be reviewed annually, and any adjustments be made to the policies and procedures. There were 4 of them to be considered: a social media policy, compensatory time policy, vacation sick time changed to PTO, holiday schedule for the calendar year of 2021. And because this was presented at the last meeting, you've had ample time, the council has had ample time to review the information. So I would like the council to consider adopting these proposed personnel changes.
I would like to make a motion on 3 of these. The compensatory time policy, the
Okay.
vacation sick time change to PTO, and the holiday schedule for the calendar year 2021. I do not support the social media policy. We should stay away from that with a 10-foot pole. That's causing nothing but trouble. Somebody's got something to say, let them say it.
The reason, and you don't know, you wouldn't know the reason behind. I took the TML class on social media, and we did have an incident with an officer who had taken and put a page representing Coffee City Police Department on his personal Facebook page. Okay? Somebody, and I don't know how they were known or if they were known to the individual, commented on this page that it was not an official page. And what came back, the officer was in the wrong. He made a very curt statement to the person commenting, told them to die. Why don't you just die? Okay? So the purpose of the revision of the social media policy is primarily to put it in the policy that nobody, no employee of Coffee City, no council member should have a page on their personal social media platform that can or displays itself or represents itself to be an official Coffee City page, website.
We've dealt with other ways than that. I'll still make my motion for compensatory time policy, vacation/sick time change to PTO, and holiday schedule for calendar year 2021. And with all due respect for what you, and the terrible story that you said, there's a lot of world out there that this is going to cover, a lot of world. And I think restricting any kind of speech at all is, I don't think that's good. You can look confused if you want. I made a motion.
Well, okay. Well, I just say it doesn't restrict the speech. It just says that they can't have a posing official Coffee City page on their personal, because we can't oversee that. The city can't oversee that, and it's a liability to the city. And that's what I'm trying to overcome, is the liability. All right, we'll just go with the motion that's on the table to consider and act upon the proposed personnel policy changes for the compensatory time policy, vacation, sick time being changed to PTO, and the holiday schedule for the calendar year of 2021. Do I have a second to accept these 3 items and scratch the social media policy? Okay, Edwards made a second. Don Weaver's made the first motion. All in favor? You abstain. Okay, we've got 1 abstain, 3 fours. Okay. All right, thank you for that.
I make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.